Content disclaimer: the views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. Today's consciousness, today's consciousness, today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? From the pristine position that we held in today's consciousness, here's a new show just for you every Tuesday called Today's Consciousness. Be there and enjoy all the great special guest stars that will be passing through on a new show called Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Are you ready to address all the things that are going on? And how can we heal today's consciousness? Today's consciousness. Today's consciousness. Right here on KSP TV. Today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling out there in the streets? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I pay for those applause. Believe me, I pay for those applause. Man, in the next 2 minutes, we're going to be bringing up a special guest right here on Today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community, of course. This is a special program that I've been doing weekly so far, and I started off with Baba Phil Valentine back in the day, of course, when I first started it, and this is the 14th episode, and I'm glad to have this brother coming up in the next couple of minutes right here. Today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community. What happened and how can we change it and heal it? And I think also his book is really about healing, and I'm going to be talking about that. Give me a little time. Let's get into it first. We'll probably be up there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Believe me, this brother got a lot to share if he has that amount of time. But I would like to share with all of you, those that are in the know. Y'all need to know what I'm doing. Of course, let's show you what I'm doing. The first class, the first installment on my Patreon has been uploaded. It's called The Sacred Connection Between Numbers and Humans. The Anatomy of Numerovation is now up on my Patreon. Those who want to go to my Patreon, let me give you the Patreon page. It started. I released it at 12 midnight on this day. So let me put it in the chat if you want to join. Only for paid Patreon members only. I got a 3-part installment. This is the first part going up, of basics of the sacred connection between numbers and humans. Believe me, we're getting it in. So the next one, part 2, is going to be, woo, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. So we're going to get it in. But again, you could always go to my Patreon, patreon.com/King Simon Productions. All right, so let's remove that. And I just want to let y'all know it's in the chat just in case y'all want to join that. Let me see if I can put it in the Instagram chat also. Let me put it in the Instagram chat just in case you want to join that on the Instagram chat. Let me put it in there too. All right, we're going to put it in the Instagram chat also, just in case y'all want to join Patreon. Let me remove that and put myself back in the frame. Hold on one second. Put myself back in the frame. And remember, please like, subscribe, and share all videos that we are doing up here. And please share it with people that are on a spiritual journey as much as you can, please. like, subscribe, share with the family and friends that are on a spiritual journey, because this channel is all about the journey. And of course, the brother wrote the book, The Hero's Journey. So we're going to get it in. You know what I'm saying? Thumb up the video and thumb up this broadcast to build the algorithms. And of course, please like, subscribe, hit up the notification bell so you'll be notified when it come up, you know, because they did shadow ban my platform because of Curtis Carr's videos, SETI videos. They took that down. They took Dr. Valentine's videos down, man. So I understand what's happening. You know, they don't want that type of truth and that type of energy to come through. And I got it, you know. But before we bring on our brother in the next few seconds, there's something that Dr. Valentine would like to say from an old lecture. And he did mention my brother in there, and I want to make sure I put it on the screen right now. So before we bring on our brother, our dear beloved Black Dot, Virgo energy, born August the 27th, that 2-7 energy is not only a spiritual, intuitive energy, but it's also as up to that 9, which deals with the humanitarian and service that he came to bring on all levels. So without further ado, I want to make sure I bring up Baba Phil Valentine, because he's going to speak from the ethers of the past about this brother that I'm going to bring up, and he mentioned a lot of brothers in this framework at St. Francis College, but I wanted to make sure I share what he said on screen with all of you out there, because Dr. Valentine is a special force in our community and has been a helpful force to all of us growing up. So listen to Baba Valentine as he speaks.
Those who received the torch and moved it forward in the spirit of which it was passed to them, I salute them as well, because I'm now saluting the next elders, the ones whom I've had personal contact with, the ones whom I've had scrutiny on and have watched their works, the new elders, the ones that are supposed to be holding it down and will be holding it down. It's going to be tough because everybody thinks they can occupy this platform. They cannot. They should not. We have to be more discreet, not being prejudicial, but more discreet, more proofed. Brother Black Dot, Brother A.A. Rashid, Brother Panic, Brother King Simon, my son Amin Ra, Brother Chris, Brother Red and Blue Pill, Brother Shabazz, Brother Supernova. I talked to my brother Rich. Where's my brother Rich at? There he is, Brother Rich. Brother Duke Asir, Duke of Tears. Brother Joel Benjamin. Abundance Child. Brother Jabari. Brother DJ, Professor Griff. Mukasa Africa. Irritated Genie. Sister Keisha Forrester, and Brother John Kawasi. Now I'm naming these because they have proven themselves up to this point. Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint us. Because you've been named now. You have been given that sword that they give you to each shoulder, which means you have a responsibility to the people. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, which is why this particular platform is so sacred.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Without further ado, I want to welcome my dear brother, man, from another mother and father, the one, the only. I know I usually come with a lot of energy, but this brother don't know how much the book has been touching me, to the point that I can't even read through it, man. That's how deep it has brought. And when I got the book in the package, man, I started crying. I called him and cried, and he know I did. Without further ado, let's welcome our dear brother, the Black Dot, in the building. Black Dot, are you ready, my brother? How you feeling? Let me see if I can find you. There you go. How you doing, brother?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's a pleasure to be here on your platform. Finally, I was starting to get a little jealous. I was seeing all the the elders and teachers come through, but finally we're here, and I do have time, so we can kind of build. You know what I mean?
Brother, thank you very much again. I'm tearing up again. That's why I wore shades tonight, my blue blocker shades, because I know. Man, even I talked to Baba Phil Valentine, and he said that is such a prize. He was unexpected of it. He didn't even know, and he don't even want to open it up. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to open it up. He don't even want to crack the book because he knows, and it has been taking me down. I'll be honest with you, Brother Black Dot. I don't even want to read it yet. I read the first chapter and I started crying already. I seen the video and I started crying. I said, bro, this is such a sensitive subject to me, because even the back of the book this morning, I was reading it on my Instagram, just the first paragraph, and I started tearing up. So it's hard for me to read. And I know why, because of family stuff. And like your mother went through, drug abuse. My father went through it too. And my mother didn't go through, but my father, coming out of the military, went through it. And I'm glad, out of the 3 wives, my mother couldn't do it for him. Second wife couldn't do it for him. Matter of fact, his second wife joined in, I heard. But the third wife with the Christian background pulled it out. Although her and I, because of a Christian attitude, she don't want to deal with numerology and all that kind of stuff, and don't even let me come into the house. I have to see him on the outskirts. I still respect her for helping him to come through. And he's still here with me at 81 years of age. So
beautiful.
First and foremost, Dot, how are you feeling, and how's the family? How's everybody feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited about this, finally rolling this book out. It meant the world to me. It means the world. Hip Hop Decoded, the first book I put out, it was important. It was important for that time, but this was a personal story about being on that hero's journey and fighting through a lot. And so, I get on these platforms and I'm laughing and I'm having a great time. But under that always is, a lot that we're dealing with. And so the back of the book always really talks about, we use laughter as a defense mechanism to really hide the pain. But I got tired of laughing, and it was time to just deal with it. You know what I mean? And it's being received well. I took the time to personally send the people in my life, including yourself, who are not just non-player characters, as they say in this game of life. The people I met along the way who changed my life, inspired me, provoked me, made me think. And you were on that list to just say, guys, I thank you. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you guys collectively putting your arms around me and saying, Dot, it's okay. We're here for you to finally tell this part of your story. And so when you called me, and you were crying, I knew that was coming from a deep, deep place. Something within self. And it was a beautiful thing to see us men tell each other we love each other, out in the public, out in the open. And I think that's important because, we hide so much.
I wanted to go towards the end. I wanted to really get into the book. And
we can pivot, so we give them a little nugget and then we can get into
it. We're going to go to the end. But, just that paragraph again. Family, please get the book, Shop Urban X. It's right here. I have it right on the screen. It's pinned on the top and pinned in the chat also. It's in the chat right now. I'm going to be sharing it constantly. I put it on Instagram. I'm going to put it on Instagram chat. Just a paragraph. And if you don't mind, I'll just read the paragraph first. That's one paragraph. The greater the pain, the louder the laughter. So much is hidden in laughter, and so much is revealed when we don't cry. I learned early on that pain doesn't always scream. Sometimes it jokes. It entertains. It smiles in front of a crowd, then suffers in silence. That's what I did. That's what so many of us do. And just that paragraph alone, because I know I've been to entertainment from either the Caribbean world, SOBs, R&B, hip hop. I've done all that stuff on front of that stage. And sometimes they don't know what you're going through.
Yes.
But in the entertainment world, we as soon as the cameraman and all that coming, we know how to go like this.
Yes.
In front of with celebrities, and if you even look at my book, it's like you see me with a celebrity smiling, but you don't know in certain parts I was going through a divorce, or I thought about killing myself or killing my family, and nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And this picture. Let me tell you, Dot, this picture right here. Let me show you hold on one second. Let me find it. It's right here in front of me. It's right here. Let me take down these things. This picture right here depicts my life. Look at it. That child. Smile. Now smiling. smile, still holding on to that now. All of that is my childhood up to adulthood. And I took that last picture with the round glasses 2 years ago.
Wow.
So, and I did design this flyer probably, I've designed this banner probably 3-4 years ago. So I'm honest with you, I didn't get to read the whole book. I only got through the first chapter, and that brought me to tears. Because and there's certain movies I haven't even watched Sinners yet because I know it's gonna bring me to tears.
Yes.
I ain't watching Straw because I know it's gonna bring me to tears. I'm just, from the time you sent me that package, bro, it landed here around May 30th, May 31st. I was going through a rough month, and I've been crying on and off. So that even that's why when I called you, my heart went, yo, somebody, from your contemporaries. I know I'm a little older than you. I'm born 67, right?
Yeah, I'm 68. I'm 68.
About a year older. So, you're my contemporary. In whatever genre of music you was in, from the hip hop, I did hip hop and reggae through SOBs and all that. So you're my contemporary. So to get any kind of honor from a contemporary meant a lot to me. And it got me over the May month, which was one of my challenge months, right into June.
Good.
But this is the state of consciousness that a lot of us don't understand and understand. That's why today's consciousness is what happened? How can we change it and heal it? Because what you're doing is helping to heal it. And in that healing process, you're going to help many of us to change, especially the older ones, people in the 50s and late 40s or early 40s. I see us now in his 50s.
Yes.
But back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Rich is in his 40s. When back in the day, he was, Panic died in his 50s.
Yes.
Transitioned in the 50s. So when back in the day, Shabazz is going towards his 60s. It's deep, bro. And how, first and foremost, the first question, how does it feel to be acknowledged by one of the elders, like Dr. Valentine, who you respect so much?
I'm honored, and I do understand the responsibility that comes with because the world is watching us. And so also on this hero's journey, what you're going to find out is we make mistakes, we fall down, we get back up, but the world is watching, and how we get back up and deal with it is important. So we're going to talk about the ups and downs of the conscious community, the ebbs and flows, the things that came in that we could go all collectively go, I probably would have changed that, or I would have did this, or would have did that. And so when an elder who you not even know is watching, you know what I mean, is sitting home or whatever, watching the teachings and watching us live out the teachings. In mathematics, in the nation of gods and earth, we used to say, make that math walk and talk, God. You can't just talk it, it's got to walk. You got to show me.
That's right.
And so the conscious community as a collective was our opportunity to receive information and then manifest it in areas that were, we were drawn to. And so it was never a destination. It was part of the journey. We were all coming out of something and needed to come together in an intimate space or intimate spaces to get deprogrammed, for whatever the case may be. And then it was imperative upon us to then walk that walk. So you took the area of numerology and walked that walk. It's needed. I took the path of going down hip hop and metaphysics and walked that walk. And Blue took the law of 44 and walked that walk. And A.A. Rashid took the Kabbalistic route and walked that walk. And Rich created the ultimate platform to walk that walk. And so, each and every one of us who received our instructions, for the most part, began to walk it so that it becomes, when we say conscious community, it's not just those gatherings, it's us going out to teach people that there is another alternative way of thinking, eating, and expressing love.
Man, and that is the absolute fact. And I know our elders like Bobby, like Delbert, like Suzar, like Jewel Pookrum, like of course Dr. Valentine, like Queen of Four. They gave it to us with love, because sometimes they would give us long, drawn-out lectures. And before that, it was the Alton Maddox and the Dr. Ben and the Amos Wilsons and, you know, Sister Burke and Big Man and everybody. They did things. Sometimes we, as Azil and Mfundishi opened up a spot, the Black Gold spot, just for us to. Sometimes we was teaching in basement. Sometimes Dr. Valentine had it in the house. Queen of Four had it. When they was married, they had it in their own place on King. They was there. I was young, coming out of the Nation and Islam and the Ansar. I was doing all of that, you know what I'm saying? And the 5%, you know, and then listening, don't forget the consciousness that was on radio, LIB, WWRL with Bob Law, Nightline, and Gary Bird, Imhotep, Gary Bird. We can't forget those because they allowed Shekema to get up there. Phil, all of them to get. Remember those things, brother?
Yes, absolutely. And we treated them as gold because there weren't so many locations that we could get that kind of information. And WBAI. We were drawn to this because we were trying to find our tribe. You know, we're born into a family, and sometimes we can tell that was just the portal in which we came in. The vibration that we walk is totally different, and we felt outcast to some degree. And so we left that home, and all of those school of thoughts, York, 5%, Nation of Islam, those were just schools to bring you into your mastery, so to speak. And so in doing so, anytime we found somebody who was opening up a little, underground railroad for us to get the information, we went there, we got it, we kept it a secret. It was a great, beautiful thing. And we left and we shared with only those who were qualified that we felt could learn it, right? And that was sacred. That's what kept it sacred. Whether, like you said, it was in Phil's basement or Queen of Four's spot, or even if the radio gave us a little broadcast frequency, we jumped on it, you know. But it wasn't for everyone, because everyone's wake-up time and ascension time is different, as we know.
Right.
You know?
And we was listening to Coast to Coast when we knew they had with Art Bell and George.
Art Bell was my guy.
George Norrie and everybody. You know what I'm saying? So those are things. And although they was coming from Europeans were coming on there a lot, but we seen what was happening.
And they had resources. I always tell people, a lot of times, you know, when it was time to go into those ancient caves and this and that, they had the resources to go in. Now, of course, they were going to put a European spiel on it, but that's what our elders were for. Our elders trained us, get the information, but don't connect to those parts that you know are impossible. So Art Bell was a jewel for me. Jordan Maxwell was a jewel. You know, they was dropping jewels. You know what I mean? Because I knew how to disseminate the information well, because the information is unbiased. The only biased part is the ones who put their own twist and spin on it. But the universe is unbiased. It will bring that information to you if it feels that you are ready and present to receive it.
You know, Doc, we go back long time in this consciousness, bro. And you know, you got a big apple tree, and sometimes there's bad apples in it.
Yes.
You know, there's people that you've disagreed with and I've disagreed with or helped to promote, although they was probably doing their own work. And, you know, the only regret I tell people that I have with anybody that I promoted that might have turned out to be bad apple is not having an investigation team to be able to go in and tap and find out who's who.
Yes.
You know, because I've lived in the Dr. York community before the Nuwapi. I was in the Ansar, and then after whatever he did after I left 88, I left in 88. But I've been with Polite, whatever he did when he went to Hollywood, that's his business. I never worked with everybody else that's going to jail for whatever. But I really, and you know, there's been some bad apples from not even just the consciousness, but even conscious hip hop.
Yes.
Conscious reggae. There's been bad apples. Bob Marley and Gregory Isaac and all these guys went through drug stuff.
Yes.
But they still was able to pour out positive music because they had to keep up. You know, and a lot of in this business, a lot of people are undercoverly using drugs and we don't know.
Yes.
Be real.
Yes.
I'm not afraid to say it.
Absolutely.
And from your perspective, brother, what point did it change
That's a great question.
What point did it change? And then we'll go into the healing, because like I said, I believe this is part of the healing.
Yes. I believe, and this, I've been around, like I said, long time, when it was no longer intimately set.
Right.
Like when we came to LIU or the Dempsey or a Slave Theater or wherever,
right.
We were all shoulder to shoulder. And in a classroom, you got smart people in the class. You got goofy people in the class. You got people who are always trying to disrupt the teacher in the class. You had sexy mamas in the class. So that became the atmosphere overall, but it was an intimate setting. And because the information could only move so fast via VHS tapes or cassette tapes, you shared a cassette tape or VHS tape with somebody you deemed worthy. And then maybe you would sit down together, watch it. You couldn't fast forward it and this and that. You had to watch it, and then you would have conversation. I believe that foundation was set by the elders based on the time that they was in. I know for a fact these elders that we speak of never robbed us of anything. I paid them myself, so I know that they were worth way more. If they had pivoted into a white community or whatever, they would have got paid so much more. So I know, but I also know that they were human. And because Bobby and Phil and them, they said it from the gate, do not follow us because our lives is raggedy. You know what I'm saying? In certain aspects of it. And so you're here for the information. Because that became the template of that, I wasn't shocked on some of the things I heard or saw or knew, because I never put anybody or any of these people on any pedestals. Right. Part of the reason I've been so transparent with my life is because I want you to have it all. Don't ever put me on no pedestal that not even I can live up to. I am human or spiritual, having this human experience, and I'm going to make mistakes, including mistakes in judgment. And so if I bring somebody in and they don't pan out, I can see you looking at me like, okay, but understand they have to qualify and disqualify themselves by their actions. So if I make a mistake 10 years ago, but yet 10 years later, you still see me here fighting the fight, you have to charge that up to the game. When this thing pivoted into the internet era for me, the internet era created a vortex in which people who were not vetted for this type of information were now had access to information that they weren't ready for. They needed baby food, and they were given full stakes of information. Us being trained by the elders how to chop that steak into small particles and pieces so that we can digest it, understood. But somebody from the internet world who doesn't understand this information, and it created sort of like a chaos situation, including agents who we knew were in the audience during the live events.
Of course.
But now they didn't have to be. They became anonymous in the sense that they can stand behind their computers and create dissension by misinformation and disinformation. Along came the hip hop era, making a quantum leap, and I thought we tried to tap too much into that, where we were creating online celebrities through consciousness. And once these people started having names like Super Galactic so-and-so of the cosmic whatever, I think we missed the point. Now, let me stop you there, King Simon. I'm going to take partial responsibility for that, because when I came into consciousness, there was no hip hop vibration in it. It was nothing but old, elderly people in the crowd. When I should go see Sister Bird and Big Man and Leon and them, and I was wondering why I was there. Once I figured out, okay, I'm here to receive these downloads so I can translate this information into hip hop where the brothers and sisters can understand it. I took on the name The Black Dot. And of course, I got that from Dr. Richard King.
Richard King, that's right.
And his lessons, but I put a hip hop spin on it by putting out some hip hop music mixes.
Yeah.
So I was bringing my energy to it. When you started seeing me at the Long Island University, I started wearing the throwbacks, and it brought in a younger crowd.
Right.
So I'll take responsible for bringing in the younger crowd.
No, we needed that. We needed
it because young people are the ones who are to initiate things.
That's right.
But I think when it got to the internet and we could create these avatars, you know what I mean? I think these avatars made some people think that they were bigger than they really were. I thought it made some people be able to download 50 YouTube videos and become a YouTube scholar. And now they're coming into the arena with an ego and a personality that was foreign to what it is that we were doing.
Right. And you know, I have no problem. Big up to Abundance Child in the building.
Peace, Abundance Child.
Yeah. Monique in the building too. Monique is here. What up, Monique?
Yes.
Yes. Nicholas Brooklyn. I have no problem with the children because I made sure even in my lectures, all children were free up to the age of 16 or 17 years. Mm-hmm. And I knew they will take it in their own way.
Yes.
And just disseminate it later on in their own way. Because I always say, I got the knowledge of the 5% who was the original man, Asian, black man to make it on the cream of the planet. I got a universe. I still got my lessons at 14.
Right.
So, and it wasn't put in book form. We had papers,
and you had to have that on memory.
And
after a while, yes.
Or you get neither. You're gonna get chastised in a certain way.
Yes.
And that's what it was. And going through these, like myself, Brother Black Dot, going through these different dimensions of consciousness. Was there any period of time that you wanted to put a halt to certain things that was happening, but you didn't feel like you had the voice to step in and say anything about it, or to change it at any point, so we can redirect the energy? That's where staying on code, like Professor Griff would say, or being accountable elders, judgments. So to speak. Was there any time that you might have talked to your wife, pillow talk? Because I know we always talk to the women next to us. Were there some pillow talks that was said amongst with your empress, my brother?
Yes. Well, as a Virgo, we see things way in advance.
Right.
I can see things develop before the average person and go, okay, this is not for me, or it's time for me to step out. Now, remember, I'm going back into the early 2000s where I wasn't exactly an elder yet. Right. I was like me and you were in the in-between. Exactly. We weren't as young as Rich and Blue Pill and them, but we weren't as old as the elders. Right. We were in that middle ground. Yes. So I didn't feel I had the power to maybe come in and say, all right, put the brakes on. We're not going to do this. And so what I did was I just removed myself from the situation for long periods of time and watched from afar and say, okay, I dodged that. I got out of that simply because I wasn't in the position that I feel I'm in now. Right. You know what I'm saying? I have accepted the role that we are the new elders. Right. And it is incumbent upon us to be able to say, all right, let's slow this thing down and let's get this thing back to a intimate place of authenticity. And I see this happening now as the so-called conscious community has went through its bumps and bruises. It went through its hero's journey as a collective. We done cursed each other out. We done pointed some people out. We done put some people in jail. We done did this, that. But now when all the smoke clears, we are still standing because the true intent of what we were trying to do was just teach what we know to those who do not know. And so now, when Rich did the Gathering of the Masters, it was so powerful.
Yes. Thank you for the shirt, sir. Thank you for the shirt.
You're welcome. That's right. It was so powerful that I almost missed the moment because I was going to Vegas the week after for my birthday, and the finances wasn't right. You know how it is. But the queen, the empress, always got a little money stashed somewhere that us fellas don't know about. She said, "Oh no, we are going to that."
I got it in the bra. I got it
in the bra, pulled out the airfare, hotel, all that. And when I got there, I'm so glad I was there because we were being honored, all of us. Yes. There were bigger legends just doing vending than they were on the stage. And I had never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah.
And everywhere I walked through the crowd, the people just said, thank you. I watch the show all the time. Thank you for this and that. And it brought back a sense of, the conscious community that I was used to.
Right.
What you're doing now, you're giving us an opportunity to revisit certain aspects that we lost, because the only way we can heal and repair and get better is we got to have these tough conversations about where we went wrong. So that the new community that we build may not be as, go to the lecture and stand in the hallway. That aspect may have passed us by, except for a nostalgic event here and there. I'm going to be at LIU.
Yeah, me too.
22nd, me and you.
Stop playing. Let me put the flyer up. There you go.
Fly up. Yeah, that's me.
Yes, sir. We'll be there.
Brother Tafiro, Brother Adika Butler, King Simon. We're going to all be there on the 22nd.
That's
and
right.
Listen, if you are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, and you've never been to LIU, it is a monumental place to show up at. You should show up just on principle, so you can walk into this divine space and just build. You know what I mean? And suck all that energy up. Man. And so, I think that's important, King Simon.
No, again, family, we got the one, the only legendary Black Dot in the building. Let me give him a round of put that round of applause in the building. Man, woo! It's already fire at 8:32. We still here at 8:32. We going in. Hold on, let me take this thing down. Man, brother. And again, family, get his books. Follow him on, of course, on Instagram. But make sure you got his email. You got his website. The website is all the products is on the website. You still got the shirt on the website too?
I think I have a few left because
the gathered
gather those up. Yes.
Yeah. So he got the books are all. As a matter of fact, let me show the website. Let me stop playing. I got the website right behind me right now on the screen. I'm ready to whip it up. There we go. Bang.
Yep.
Man, look at that. All the books are up there, man. Come on now. The special packaging is up there if you want it. The book is up there if you just want the book by itself. Urban Decoded, Culture Decoded, Hip-Hop Decoded. I'm telling you, you want to support what the brother... Is Malcolm's book up here too?
Malcolm book is at the bottom of the page. It should be
it's at the bottom. Okay, as I'm scrolling down. But all these pictures, man, which he gave messages on all of his great T-shirts and
hoodies. Father's Day joints going, looking for the ladies.
That's right. You got the Father's Day joint coming up, so make sure y'all support Fatherhood Grill, Granddad, over dads. You know how that works.
Exactly.
World's greatest grandpa. You really you pushing it. Go ahead.
I'm on it, baby. Once I became a grandpa, I'm on it.
I got one of the I am hoodies, man. Believe me, family, everything is worth it and good quality. The shirts that we have, good quality. Got the Zodiac. Also, y'all got to get it in. Hoodies when you in colder areas and all that. Everything is on there, man. Make sure you support the website, man. ShopUrbanX.com, man. And of course, Mother's Day special. They had the Mama's Day special. Yeah, big up to all the mamas. These are some beautiful mamas up here. Stop playing. Get myself in trouble here. Just looking at a website.
Facts.
Who designed the website? Your wife?
Yes. My wife.
Oh man, big up to her. Let me give her a round of applause because she has definitely been that rock, man. And I really respect what she's doing, man. Big up to Mother Dot, man. Big up to Mama Dot. Big up to Mama Dot. This gathering of the masters that was at. Were you at the one here in Atlanta in 2000s, or you didn't get to come out here?
Yes.
I missed it.
I was at that one.
I
Yes.
I didn't get to come, but what the difference between that one and the one that Rich produced from Brother Jackson, Mr. Kevin Jackson from back in the day, to what Brother Rich, remember those times and what was going on? Because I know there was a big thing between Khaled and...
I'm going to get to it. I'm glad that's a great question.
Let's go.
Shout out to Mr. Kevin Jackson.
Shout out to Mr. Kevin Jackson.
Because he did his thing. There was a lot of dissension going on simply because the philosophies were beginning. We were coming out of Pan-Africanism, so to speak, And there's always a part or not dissatisfied, but those who want to take it further. So the metaphysics was just beginning to make its way into the underground community. And obviously it sounded strange to a lot of people who weren't ready to digest that kind of information. And so what Kevin did was he brought all the masters together. But when you have Khalid Muhammad on the same stage as Bobby Hemmett, the underground started rumbling that Khalid was going to chastise Bobby about, you know, some things that he was teaching, mainly because I understand what Khalid was grounded in. You know what I'm saying? I understand the teachings.
Me
and
too.
when somebody come up with a different teaching that they haven't qualified yet, you know, it sounds real bizarre. And so that was the underground dissension. That's when I remember I did a music mixtape for Khalid. I did, you know, a music tape promoting the event, and Khalid loved it. And, you know, we kicked it for a while when he got there. And so you had on one side of the table, you had Conscious Rasta, Khalid Muhammad, a few other traditionalists, you know what I'm saying, with Pan-Africanism. And then on the other side, you had Henry DiBernardo, you had Phil Valentine, you had Bobby Hemmett, you had Dr. Africa, you know what I'm saying, who were infusing the metaphysics into, you know,
if you see the tape, Dr. Africa was on the side with Khalid. He was on
he was on that side. But
and he wanted to leave early. He had to leave early.
Yeah, but his information, the way they set it up.
Exactly.
And so there were people in the crowd trying to stir things up. You'll even see me in the crowd come up and try to squash this. But there were some things being said. So on the first night, Khalid showed up without the Black Panthers. He just showed up by himself. He wanted to hear Bobby's lecture.
Take notes. That's how Khalid is. He'll take notes.
He came in and he was taking notes.
That's right.
And Bobby was in rare Bobby Hemmett form. He went through all of his stuff and he said some stuff like, well, I don't make my bed up when I get out of it because I want to be resembling to that of a child. Metaphysically speaking, metaphorically, I understood what he meant. Of course. You have to be born again to get this information. And sometimes the physical acts that you do have to permeate into your spirituality. Right. Khalid took that literally. You know what I mean? And so, and Bobby's talking about Mars and all this old kind of stuff. So Khalid shows up with the Black Panthers the next day. And first of all, they shut down the Atlanta airport. When they came through with them boots, them suited and booted, and walked through the entire airport, by the time they showed up at our event, the feds were everywhere. They were already there when we got there because they kept delaying me in Henry DiBernardo's room for hours at a time before we could check in. Phil couldn't get his room for 3-4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Phil said the first thing he did when he got into the room was he pulled his pants down and he mooned where he thought the camera was. Like, this is ass. That's what he told me while we were having, you know, breakfast and shit, right? And so we were already in a situation that was hostile. But when Khalid Muhammad came through, it was feds everywhere throughout this event, and the tension and the energy of it changed. So when Khalid hits the stage, you know, he does his thing, you know what I'm saying, based on the teachings and blah, blah, blah. He took a couple of shots at Bobby and this and that. And then he said he don't give a damn about Mars when we have problems here. That I totally understand.
I understand. Right.
However, within that statement, you're also subliminally shitting on Farad Muhammad because he taught us.
He taught us, of course, the lessons
about Mars.
That's right. He did.
He's the first one who taught us about the people on Mars, how big it was, and the language they spoke. And so that caught me, you know, I was a little confused on that. And he said, man, make your bed up and this and that. And I understood that too. But it was showing that in order to grasp any of this metaphysical occult stuff, you have to almost not free yourself, but you have to be in a space to not take everything so literal.
Right. That's
and then you'll have people who will challenge you literally, and you guys will be arguing back and forth. And you're both technically right if we want to go down a literal path. Long story short, I gave the edge to Bobby that night. You know what I mean? Because you know, Khalid seemed to be regurgitating the lessons that we already knew.
We are right.
And when he went in on Mars and all that other stuff, but nonetheless, it created some, dissension and tension. And Bobby said from that event, that's when an attack came out on him. So
right.
I was at the event all 3 days, and it was overall a memorable event when everyone had their individual equal space to just teach what it is that they know.
Man, bro, I heard all of it when people came back because of that time. I was definitely still between the nation, still in the consciousness, but also in the reggae world. And my ear's always to the ground, especially as a promoter.
Yes.
Always on the ground, especially as a promoter. And again, you gave us the what happened. At that point of time, from your perspective, how should Khalid and Bobby have handled it at that point of time? What's the mistake that Khalid made? Because Khalid, you pointed out briefly that the lessons does teach about the UFOs and all that, and then also Mama Tonetta was dropping esoteric stuff. If you've been listening, but remember, he had made that transformation into the Black Power movement, the Panthers,
right? But he still knew his lessons.
Of course, he knew his teaching. But what would you, in your mind, if you was able to talk to Khalid right now or Bobby right now, what would be the resolving factor?
That they need to get into a room by themselves.
That's what I'm talking about,
right? They needed to get into a room without all the fanfare and camera with people trying to fan stuff, because first of all, there were a lot of agent provocateurs in the crowd fanning it. And then there are people who just want to see a car crash, so to speak. And shout out Yendez. What up, my sister?
Yendez in the building. What up, sister? Turtle Gang in the building.
Oh, Turtle Gang in the building. Salute, King.
I got to get him on. Turtle Gang, I ain't forget you, and happy birthday is coming up on the 16th.
Yes. And so they were supposed to get into a room, and they could have had a scriber in there or somebody who could have took notes to compare this and that, and we can have a talk. Because when it ain't no people around and it's me and you, there's no ego involved. It is me and you, and we can build like brothers or sisters and really resolve what our issues are, because all of us are never going to always think the same. That would be crazy be in a world where we all thought the same. But how we go about, sharpening our tools, but the minute it becomes a spectacle, a pay-per-view event, then now my ego has to be involved. I got people watching me. I'm liable to wild out on you. You know what I mean? And make this a personal attack. So them brothers should have got into a room, and because we're brothers and sisters, and they could have ironed that thing out to the point where there was no public, situation.
I'm surprised at Doc, because Doc, we was taught that in the Nation of Islam back in the day. He taught that in the FOI class. That's why the minister never wanted us to fight physically. Like in the Ansars, if we had problems, we used to go in the basement and
get it on
gloves and get it in. You know what I'm saying? And then whoever get knocked out, okay, you got knocked out for this one, get up, hug, let's go pedal, let's go propagate this truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So in the Nation, they didn't want that, because he seen that brothers throwing punches at each other, unless you in the dojo like we did with Sanukas Rue and all the great martial artists of who we trained with back in the day.
Right.
But I think Khalid knew better. But again, ego could be the one, of course. Everybody's bravado and everybody's chest is out. When men, we ready.
And remember, he is just reestablishing himself coming out of the Nation. He's just trying to build something up. And Bobby could just be cannon fodder for me establishing back to the ego and all of those things, because had he been in the Nation, he wouldn't approach Bobby like that. They wouldn't have allowed that without it being scholastic, without it being something that we tried to, but the Black Panther Party, the energy change, he was just, like I said, creating the foundation that this was the new Black Panther Party. And so I think he went about it just a little bit different.
And again, that's the new Black Panther compared to the old school, which I know Brother Shep and all of them from back in the day. I know those brothers. And it's interesting because Bobby would have respected the Nation of Islam way, because he used to teach on the Honorable Life.
Yes.
He used to go to the classes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he didn't know the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because I have an old DVD with him, not a DVD, an old VHS with him Slim teaching on the Messenger's teachings about UFOs and all that kind of stuff. Going back in. So, you know, it's deep. But what we liked about what Brother Rich brought about the conscious community, as far as the gathering of masters, what was the difference that you seen? Because you've been to both of them. I didn't be at both. I just was at that one. What did you see? What did you see that was different from what you took on in 2000 with Kevin Jackson's thing with Khalid and Bobby, and to compare to what is now?
Brother Rich's situation was all about love.
Yeah,
it was all about honor.
Yeah, and
it was all about respect for the elders that came before us and giving them a platform. There was no inner, Queen of Four wasn't beefing with this one, and, and we didn't have no undertones coming there like, yo, so and so got beef with so and so. So when it was none of that, we were coming, and I think it for those who had never been to a live lecture, because the internet has given us access to so many different people around in rural places who, when they hear about what was taking place in New York City and all of these places they wanted to experience that. And so I thought Brother Rich did a magnificent job bringing that to you. So if you flew in from somewhere, you got the full experience of what it was like. And whereas in 2000, there was dissension. We even the conscious community had not really established itself, on a regular platform. We were still a very, very small underground, 35 people at the Dempsey, trying to get this information. And so I thought with that, and there were too many factions. There was, when you bring energy together, and you understand this, when you book people, you have to, you can do the numbers. So you can look at the numbers and go, nah, that's not going to work.
I do.
Because, you do. I know you do. And so you have to have the ability to do that, to know that all the people you bring in together, they bring a harmonious synergy to the event. I can't bring two rivals.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people felt Bobby and Phil were rivals, but they respected each other.
Yes, they did.
And they loved each other. They just saw it different. So what we would do, if we had a 2-day event, we put Bobby on one day, and then we bring Phil in on the next day. So that we could have, and them two could have the proper space, because even in the conscious community in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, we started having a dark side of the community who was dealing with dark information from Bobby, and a light code transmission who were dealing with Phil. And then you had people who just wanted to show up and get whatever was being taught. And so even in that, we started sensing, and then we had the Black Power movement still being upheld by Brother Sarnetta, and he was holding, big up Sarnetta, he was holding strong to that. And so we were beginning to have these different factions where Brooklyn's lectures were of the metaphysical sort, but Uptown's lectures were more of the Black Power sort. And, it was creating, and maybe that's just a natural progression of our people. But Rich's event was about none of that.
That's right.
This was about healing. This was about love. And this was about honoring. I felt honored. And I felt honored to look in the crowd and see King Simon, KT the Arts Degree, Red Pill, Blue Pill. So many elders were there just in a vending capacity. We were humble. We were on the stage.
That's right.
But we still were here to support this. And it was
people
super. It was magical.
Big up to my man, Uncle Rise's son in the building. Dr. Valentine is in the building. Whoa, whoa. We just talked about
the elder in the building. Oh, yes. Now I'm really honored.
Dr. Valentine and Sister Nalani, man. We was talking about your basements and he started the gathering of the masters in his
he's the origin of the gathering of the masters.
That's right.
And in fact, I believe, and memory will serve me correct, when Kevin Jackson was thinking about doing it, Phil is the one who said, let's call it the Gathering of the Masters. Since that was something that was already established And just the tonality of that brought people from everywhere out into that mix. I don't know how long you've been listening, Baba, but I talked about what was going on in the Gathering of the Masters in 2000 when you was mooning them people that had them cameras in your room and shit, you know, and the feds that was everywhere. And how at that time we were establishing the metaphysical conscious thing, and Khalid and a few others was holding on to what it was, and we were forging ahead. But birth is violent in some aspects when change is coming about. And there's some people who still want to hold on to the way things are, to where they have evolved now. And Rich said the first person he asked to do this one that he did was Dr. Phil. But Phil, you know, Dr. Nalani was going, you know, was healing, and he said, I can't leave home base. But just to let you know where Rich's mindset was. If we're going to do it, let's call the master in and get this done. So, Dr. Phil, you know how I feel about you.
Big up your son, in building. Big up
Malcolm. Malcolm is in the building.
What up,
Shout out Malcolm in the building. Yes.
Mama Ella, what's up, girl? Mama Ella in the building. Okay.
Ella's in the building.
All the superstars are coming in.
Oh, they all coming through.
Abundance was in, all the superstars in the building.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
Oh man, there's so many ways I can go with you, brother, because you was there during the big man era. The Sister Burke, of course.
Shout out Sister Burke, man.
The late great
Big
Sister.
Man.
Called herself Hatshepsut after a while.
Yes.
At the, of course, Reverend Dorchy's church. I was UAM. We was there. We was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And watching the camaraderie of the consciousness, and that's why I told Dr. Valentine I want to call it the conscientious conscious community, where conscientious means you got to do right. You can't be conscious in here and doing niggly shit.
Yeah,
niggly
absolutely.
Stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, through all of those things that we've seen, just not in the music, on the streets, through even going from the battle rapping and all the stuff that went in, even into what Sarnetta did, and commend Sarnetta, because I know he took what Dr. Khalid was doing to a whole nother level when it came to debates, because Khalid says, I remember Khalid saying this, debates is when people can learn and all of that. And I knew Khalid was, but one thing about Dr. Khalid, he wanted them white folks. It's only because Chuck came after him. That's why Chuck is the one that stepped to the plate over there in LA to come after Khalid, because he was debating and knocking out the Jews and all that kind of stuff. But he wanted white people.
Yes.
He wanted white folks only to show our people that what they have is really not all, is not all that's all hyped up to be.
Yes.
It's ours. So, you know, from your great perspective, my brother, because you come with the Virgo energy, that that analytical energy. You know,
ask it. Come on, bro. Come on.
Did we use our mathematics right? Because after learning mathematics, which is Islam or way of life, and mathematics is Islam, it stands true. And you can prove it at any time, any given time, or prove it at any no limit of time. Did we use our mathematics right from the transition of old school consciousness to now? Did we use our mathematics right?
I'm going to say absolutely we did. Here's the thing. Along this journey, and this is just my humble opinion, right?
Sure.
I am going to win. I'm going to lose. I'm going to learn. I'm going to have setbacks. The absolute of the mathematics, it's impossible for me in this environment with everything that's going on to be absolute in that, right? And even Dr. Phil said we're in pursuit of perfection, because that is an action word that keeps us moving and striving, which means we're gonna fall short. You could never be perfect, because once you're perfect, that's it. Where do you go from perfect? So the conscious community was not supposed to be perfect. It was supposed to go through its trials, its tribulations. Those who you're supposed to qualify and disqualify yourself based on how true you could stand with, you know, to the math, and how well you could bounce back from a setback, because the world is watching. So through all of the ups and downs, let me big up Sarnetta, because Sarnetta served a purpose.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I might have had personal beef with him on certain issues, but how's that any different than having personal beef with my goddamn sister over some shit she did at the cookout? You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so, but he served his purpose. If this thing is to evolve, even he is supposed to either requalify himself by, getting back in alignment with the math, or you fall to the wayside. So after 25 years or so, sitting here watching this, 30 years for me, sitting here watching this, I've seen many different facets of it. But now we're coming back into a state in which we can qualify and call each other out now in a more, not civil way, but we're going to hold each other a little bit more accountable to those mathematics. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't allow what happened 5-10 years ago to hijack a movement, which is a collection of people trying to find their tribe. The conscious community is not a thing per se. And some people came in from church and they parked themselves into the conscious community and started turning this shit into a religion again. You know what I mean? That's not the point of it. Come here, receive your instruction. You know what I mean? You should, after sitting through 50 lectures, you should have a clear understanding of and purpose for what your mission is. I knew mine was hip hop. That's why I was there to brought in the first place. I'm going to translate all of these teachings that Phil and Bobby and Steve Coakley and Dr. Africa and so many others. I'm going to put some hip hop in it so that the brothers on the corner who may not be as buttoned up and astute can get it. You went into numerology, like I say, A.A. Rashid into the Kabbalistic appointed panic, delved into the dark side or the occult side. Everyone's, once you receive your instruction, now you come out and you build community. That's what this is about. And we can take advantage of all the technological advances that we have, because if you're ready for it, you're ready for it. If you're not, then you're just not. And I've talked to family members and go, this ain't gonna work. You have no clue of what I'm talking about. That's right. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Love them no less. That's what I wanted to say. Love them. Give family grace. Their alarm clock didn't go off yet. Just give them grace. Love them for who they are. And I told y'all, show up at Thanksgiving. Show up at them times when they're gathering and leave your ego at the door. Because when I'm around family, I'm Duane. Duane, man, go sit your ass down somewhere. Ain't no black dot, super galactic of the 13th cosmic dimension. None, they don't want to hear none of that shit. Look, we got some shit on the grill. You hungry or not? Go there and talk to your aunt. She been waiting for you.
Exactly. She calling you by your original name.
Calling you by your original name. Go sit your ass down there, your aunt, and spit them peas with her for a few minutes because she got something she want to tell you. Never lose that. Never allow this to put barriers in between you and the people, because they are listening and they are watching. You know what I mean?
Right. Family, those that are just tuning in, we have the great one, the Black Dot himself, Duane Bowser, in the building, writer, author, lecturer, MC, and so much more, family, and all of that in every way. You got an email right there, urbanx.nyc@gmail.com. Website got all the products. Shop urbanx.com. Show him some love. You know, that just show him some love, because we're going to talk about the books in the next hour. I want to talk about it. I had to give this hour up. And again, family, you know, you're more than welcome to either cam up or call in. If you want to cam up, I'll put the link in the chat. We'll put the link. I got the link ready for y'all in the chat. If you want to call in, it's all right too, because the number is good. Yeah, the number is 718-210-8853. That's 718-210-8853. If you got anything to say to Black Dot, but if you want to come on with the camera, cam up or shut up, but cam up or shut up. Do it with respect, because this is what we doing out here in this space, man. We put the link inside the chat right now. Of course, his website is pinned to the top of the chat, and please do support my channel, PayPal or Cash App. Spread love, spread love, baby. This is what we do.
That's right. That's right.
Spread love. Now, before we go to the top of the hour, brother. This is going to be the last question before we move on, but people can call in if they want to make spread some love and talk to you and ask the question while we're getting ready. Man, there was a lot of things going on with the whole consciousness of who brought rap in the business. You know, who and the tethers, they calling people tethers and all that. I don't even like that word, man. But it's disrespectful as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think a lot of people don't recognize geological knowledge of what the Americas is, but I understand the foundational Black American.
Yes.
I understand what they're trying to do. I understand what the Moors are trying to do. I understand what all of them are trying to do. But the music part was the issue. Do you feel that they're resolving that now, or are they still bickering about that?
I believe that they're still going to be bickering about it because
music.
My only issue with some of that was,
right.
If you have never been to the Bronx in 1973, 1974, 1975,
exactly,
it's hard for me to articulate to you the environment that birthed or rebirthed hip hop. We understand hip hop is nothing new. The four basic elements, the drum, the oracle, the dancing, and the glyphs have always been here. Right. The variation in which we use them have always changed. Right. When in the South, when we're dealing with the blues and even the early gospel music, and then the funk and the jazz, and it went through many different phases, and environment is important. Right. When we got to hip hop, and I say this until I'm no longer here, the environment was different. We were in a concrete jungle for the first time when most of that music migrated from the South to come up. This was a concrete jungle. And in this concrete jungle, there was one building standing and 9 abandoned buildings. They had got rid of all the dance classes, the art classes. We were being robbed of the innate ability for us to express ourselves. Right. See, when you go see Sinners, which you haven't yet, you're going to understand that this is a part of an alchemical process to help us figure this thing out using geometrical patterns, the voice, the body, the glyph, all of these elements. And what hip hop did was it found electricity through the light pole. It put down cardboard to give brothers a chance to express. It started, if we don't have art classes, we will turn the entire city into our canvas so that we can express these images. And the spoken word or the oracle was always that elder who had the ability to articulate. Right. And these thoughts become words, which become geometrical patterns. Phil said the word W-O-R-D, earth, air, fire, water. All I did in hip hop is turn those into elements. I said the earth element is graffiti, what we write on. The body is composed of water. That's the water element. You know what I'm saying? I said the drum became the air because sound uses air to travel. You know what I'm saying? And the MC is always spitting fire. You got your earth, air, fire, water. And etherically, we're trying to connect these things to get us out of this situation. Right. So because it was the reemergence of something, sure, the roots of it is melanated music. I don't ever want to question that. However, along the way, it bits and pieces, it's the only music, I feel, it's the capstone of all others because it's the only music that can use all other music at its disposal. You can sample gospel, you can sample opera. It had no form. And that's what made hip hop so powerful. When it emerged in the Bronx and in those times, there were Puerto Ricans there, Black people, Jamaicans, blah, blah, blah. We were all in a melting pot. Now, if we want to get technical and use semantics, we can say the first DJ who did this was not Jamaican. I'm not talking about that. Right. When something is growing in gestation, it grows through a period, a process. That's so hip hop, give me a minute to burn here. We didn't call it hip hop until 1979. Right? And so prior to that, it was just going to it didn't need no name. And when we name things, sometimes we kill them because we give them form in which those who are outside of the frequency can now have something to run back to their boys with and try to cook something up. Right? And so in Sinners, when Remick showed up, he wanted in. In hip hop, there was some early individuals who are outside our community who wanted in. And then they kept saying, well, what do you guys call it? And then we said, let's just call it hip hop. So on the very second record, because King Tim III.
I remember King Tim. I had the King Tim III.
Yeah, I had the record too. But the one that blew up was Sugar Hill Gang. And the first words is, well, it's a hip hop, prohibited. Now the record companies get in and they swarmed around and they began to find a way to capitalize off it. What they didn't understand is that we were the return of who we were. And we were using this to bring ourselves out of something. But before we could get to that point, they set all of these filters in place to rob the young people of their ability to know who they were. So I don't get involved in the tether, this, that. That's just not a conversation to me. Because some of my best friends used to b-boy with me and break on my head, and they were Latino. My best friend in the world, 2 of them was Jamaicans, and they would be putting me onto the Jamaican music, and I'd be putting them on the hip hop, and we would just be living our lives at a time when the music was fun, right? We all fell in love with the concept of doing something. We didn't want no record deals or none of that fancy stuff. And then it became something else. So to revisit it with new eyes and new information and scrutinize those who were doing it to a standard of 2025, I don't think is fair. And I also don't think it was fair for Tariq Nasheed. I'm gonna say his name. I have no problems with him. He's not from here, right? That's like me going to the West Coast and doing a whole documentary on gangbanging and the origins. Sure, I can interview some of the elders from there, but because I'm not entrenched in the culture and understand gangbanging from the inception, it's hard for me to put together a documentary that's authentic. Right? So he came here and he sat some elders down, and I know how this documentary thing works. He lobbed a few questions here and there. How your origins, and then he slipped in a few questions that made it seem like they were going against each other about certain aspects. And then when you get to the editing floor, you can turn the damn documentary into anything you want. Listen, I've seen documentaries on flat Earth that after watching them, I'm like, this motherfucker's flat. And then I've seen documentaries on other shit. I'm telling you, whoever is the architect of the documentary can do what the hell they want with the documentary. So because it's in a documentary doesn't make it fact. So I just wanted to get that off my chest, bro. I didn't mean to go on.
No. Hey, bro, that's what I asked the question. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Then we're going to come back and talk about the book.
Okay.
And if people still want to call in, they're more than welcome. 718-210-8853 is the number. I want to thank my my moderator in the building, still putting up. You can cam up also if you want to. I'll put the cam up number on there if you want to come in and cam up and talk to me and Black Dot or ask us any question about this consciousness and all of that. But we do want to, because I believe his book, Gotta Laugh to Keep from Crying, I Didn't Start Living Until I Thought I Was Dying, is the healing apparatus for all of us. Because again, I can't even get through the book without crying. And I know crying is a form of releasing.
Yes.
And because it's reminding me of something, it's taking me back to something that I wish, and those that are coming on, hold on, somebody's coming on the phone line. Let's go to the phone line first before I take this commercial break. Who am I speaking with? Hold on one second. I'll get to you. I didn't turn on the phone line. Hold on one second. I'm coming to you right now. Who am I speaking with? Hello? Hey, what's up?
Dr. Valentine here.
Oh, Dr. Valentine. What up, sir?
Yes.
Man, I had to tap in before I tapped out here. I'm an old man. I need to get my rest. But I just love you two brothers so much. You are like family. You are my sons. You all have done work. You all have put it in. And like I said, I'm very proud of you all. You all have done what was supposed to have been done. When we handed you that torch, I knew we were handing it to the right people. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So I just want everybody else, if my word or who I am means anything to everybody listening, to anybody out there, but you're all tuned in, know that these two brothers are genuine. They are the real deal.
Thank you, brother.
I say enough said.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, man. We love you, man.
We love you. We love you. Talk to you soon. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, definitely.
All right.
Take care, y'all.
All right, Baba. All right. That's Baba Valentine, man. Hold on. Let me put his website up on. I gotta show you still gotta show you love, Doc. You know how we get down. I still gotta show you uksnow.org. I know I had it here. What happened to it? But uksnow.org. That's uksnow.org. Make sure you support Baba Valentine, anything that he's doing. Join his classes, join his courses, get exemptions, all of that. You know, we're gonna take this quick commercial break. Dot, we're gonna be right back after this. Hold on one second. You know, family, we are here with the legendary Black Dot. We're gonna be right back with your calls and your camming up ideas right after this. Today's consciousness, today's consciousness, today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? From the pristine position that we held in today's consciousness, here's a new show just for you every Tuesday called Today's Consciousness. Be there and enjoy all the great special guest stars that will be passing through on a new show called Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Are you ready to address all the things that are going on? And how can we heal today's consciousness? Today's consciousness. Today's consciousness. Right here on KSPTV.
Wake up, mommy.
Today's consciousness.
I remember yelling at
and how can we change it? Okay. Welcome, Black. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome, Black, to the same old place that we laugh about. The memories have all changed since you hung around. I can go back now. But yo, family, let me tell you something before we move on. Don't forget myself and Black Dot and Tafiro Azar, Adika Butler, myself, and of course, I got Paris Williams that's going to be opening up for us because I in my segment, of course, because I need some feminine energy in there. That's just me. I don't know about everybody else, but that's what I'm doing. All right. And Brother Shabazz allowed me to do so. Please support the channels. Please support my channel. Please. PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, Chime, Cash App. All of that is right there. And if you want to get any of my books, go to the Linktr.ee/KingSimonthenumerovator. That's right. All my books are available through the Linktree. And also, just want to remind everybody, please support one of my Babas, Lloyd Strayhorn, all the time. My Baba Lloyd, one of the educators, one of the ones that was there back when they was doing it at First World, man. He was doing numbers back in those days. That's how deep that is. Big up to one of my sponsors, the one, the only Abundance Child on her radio show. She needs to get you on there, Black Dot, at WJVSradio.com. Her and her husband, John Carr, doing it big over there. Please join my classes, of course, on patreon.com/King Simon Production. Part 1 has been uploaded, and part 1 is called The Sacred Connection Between Numbers and Humans from a Mathematical Perspective. Also, big up to my son, Prince Imagine. He got a great studio called Green Studio NYC in New York. He helps you with your podcasts and recordings, event productions, artist development. Give him a call. He's right there in Bushwick Avenue in Brooklyn doing his thing. Also, big up to the martial artists that are having great people from Snooker's Root Jiu-Jitsu with one of the founders was Zoke, was the one, the only master, the great grandmaster, Dr. Moses Power, which I trained under that system since the 80s. This is my brother, Asoke Hassan Khalik is doing something big in New York and Queens on the 14th and the 15th. Make sure y'all support that. And then in Florida, one of my other teachers and one of my other professors in the business of Snooker's Root Jiu-Jitsu, we got my brother Professor Walter Evans from New York but lives in Florida right now. And don't forget, we're climbing up the mountain with Brother Rich. That's going to be big. We're climbing up the mountain with Brother Rich. So, yo, this is what we're going to do before we take more calls and take more cam up. Hold on 1 second. We're going to do this right now so we can feature what's happening in this book.
Mommy, wake up, mommy. I remember yelling at the top of my lungs as my mother lay in a coma, slumped over the bathroom tub. Her shoestring still tied tightly around her arm, and a syringe lay on the floor close to her body. She was just seconds away from dying from a drug overdose, and I was scrawled all over my mother's limp body, smacking the hell out of her. I was pleading for her to wake up. I remember turning on the cold water in the tub and pouring it all over her face, trying to wake her up. My yells turned into cries of desperation as I still got no response from the woman who I loved so much. The woman who took care of me, the only woman I knew. As her head lay cradled in my arms, I saw her life begin to slip away. She no longer looked like my mother. I pushed her eyelids open to see if she was still there, but all I got was a cold, empty stare. What more could a 5-year-old do but cry and ask God, please don't let my mommy die. Then, as if my cries were being heard from above, an angel was sent to me. Not your ordinary angel, but a black knight in shining armor. That black knight was my Uncle Chris, who emerged seemingly out of nowhere, towering over me with an aura of invincibility. As he stood in the doorway, suddenly I didn't feel so helpless. I didn't feel so alone. If there was a God, he or she had answered my prayers. My uncle, who was much bigger and stronger than I was, began to resuscitate my mother, smacking her much harder than I could. He picked her up and placed her into the tub, running cold water all over her body. He told me, run into the kitchen, look into the refrigerator, and get some milk. I stood frozen for a second. I'm thinking, milk? Here it is, my mother is lying in a coma about to die, and you want me to get some milk? I later would come to understand that milk was commonly used to bring down a person's high or bring them out of an overdose. Within a few minutes of performing this overdose ritual, my uncle had did what I didn't think was possible. He had given me back my mommy. Still in a delusional state, she turned to her 5-year-old son, and all she could say was, Duane, I'm sorry. So happy that she was still alive, all I can say was, Mommy, I love you.
Man. Woo-wee, bro.
I get chills every time I watch it.
Bro, this book here available right now at shopurbanx.com.
Yeah, every time I watch it, there's chills, throughout my body.
Man, brother, this is a monumental piece. The second part of the back of the book, it says, you see, the greater the pain, the louder the laughter, not because we're okay, but because we're trying to survive. And the louder the laughter, the quieter the cries, not because we don't hurt, but because we were never given the space to fall apart.
I know.
It's the truth. It's the truth. That is
the absolute truth. I know.
Man, bro. May your mother rest in eternal peace. And, I heard Brother Rich ask you a question, and I think I'm going to twist it a little.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the one that introduced your mother to the drug life?
I think, to be honest, it was the environment itself, because we're talking the Bronx in 1970. See, in the book, I explain to people, I'm not a heroin baby, meaning I just missed the cut. I was born in 1968. Heroin didn't flood the streets of the Bronx until 1970. As a consequence, both of my sisters are heroin babies. And so their fight and struggle for survival took on a different course.
Yeah.
So I just think it was the cool thing in 1970. That's why I put a picture on the back of the book. Yeah. So you can get the aesthetics of what we're talking about during that era.
Right.
You know, look at my outfit, her outfit.
Yeah.
So aesthetically, us coming out of the civil rights movement, the Black Panther Party was doing their thing. You know, this government, they have to infuse certain, drugs and stuff to keep the people asleep at 18 years old. Because my mother had me at 16. So at 18, the hip thing to do was to sniff a little heroin. Right. It wasn't even needles at the time. Right, sniff a little heroin, this, that. And then she got hooked. Right. And my father, in the book I explained,
right.
He was on the run from the police because he had murdered somebody. And so he wasn't there to protect her. My father was a 5%. His name was Tumar. You know, so he had knowledge of self. He was a Black Panther. You know, he was a killer. He was among other things, but he didn't delve in the drug game like that.
Right.
So if he was still here, you know what I mean, without making his mistakes, maybe my mother, who had the highest IQ in my family, who read books every day, all kind of books, would have had a better opportunity to make it through that initial storm. And I relate that even to the crack era.
Right.
So when I put this video up, for some young people, they don't understand the heroin epidemic, but they understand the crack epidemic. Right. And the results were very, very similar. You know what I'm saying? Good, outstanding people, intelligent people with great jobs and great foundations lost it all when that crack came through because they wanted to entertain the latest whatever on a social scale, and it led to other things. That's the physical understanding. Metaphysically speaking, I don't know what my mother was going through because in the book you will also find out she's not who she thought she was. We're not Bowsers per se.
Right.
You know what I mean? She found out early on, or she knew that even she was, a child of a creep off. Grandma creeped out on this one. And you know what I mean? And so she always felt like the black sheep of the family. So who knows what she was going through internally that would make her, but that was the cool thing. She was dating some dude who was into that at 18 because my father wasn't around, and the social piece swept her up, and it took her 40 years to beat it. She beat it,
right?
But it took her 40 years, and the residual damage was already done.
You stated about your mother having the big arms at one point because of the needles. You know, I swear I seen a woman on Fordham Road back in the 80s like that. I don't know if she ever came to Fordham Road back in 85, 86, but I know I seen a woman like that. And I was like, I didn't understand it.
Yes.
And you said on Brother Rich show that she became like a testing ground for this.
She had been doing heroin for so long,
right,
that she would know if the heroin was good, bad, trash, how much cut had been put on it. And so drug dealers in the neighborhood, it's incumbent upon them to find out if this stuff is good enough. So they would hit her with it, and it would kill two birds with one stone. She would get some free get high, and she would give her honest opinion to the dealer if this was good or if it wasn't good.
Wow. Did they pay her for it?
They paid her in heroin.
Oh, because she was into, okay, right.
Yeah,
right.
So they give her a couple of bags of that. And if she liked it, boom, they throw a few bags and she was good.
Because I didn't delve into the book, I'm going to throw some chapters at you sporadically.
Yes, I love it.
And we're going to go wherever you want to go. The number is still available to call. I know people was trying to call in after Dr. Valentine. I went to the commercial. Cam up, you can. It's in the chat. You can call in also. I'll definitely interrupt, if anything, to get people on. R.I.P. Dad. What does that mean to you when your father passed on the transition?
That was the last chapter I wrote in the book. out of all the chapters, because I was telling his story,
Right.
but I almost forgot to venerate him and all the greatness that he was. See, I wasn't one of those kids. My dad wasn't in my life totally, but whenever he came to New York, I'm the first person he came to see, and I knew he loved me beyond a shadow of a doubt. I was his guy. It's just that he was either on the run or this and that. And so whenever I saw him, it was those great times. And so my father was licensed to preach at 12 years old. His father was a preacher. His father was a preacher. My father played 13 instruments, self-taught.
Wow.
All right. And he also wrote Neither One of Us Wants to Be the First to Say Goodbye by Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Get out of here.
To my mother. And that's what my family has stood on for 56 years. And I'm going to stand on it. Even when I see uncles to this day, they go, you know, your father wrote that song and he sold it for $50. Now, when you hear that, that was not uncommon during those days. A lot of artists created stuff and they needed a few dollars, and then they would hear their song on the radio. He wrote that song to my mother, and he heard it on the radio, and the family went bonkers, but there was nothing they could do. Right? So those are the things he did. Like I said, he was a Black Panther. He was a 5%er, and he was no joke. In the streets, he held his own. His hands was nice. You know what I mean? And in his gang, which I wrote in the book, they had an initiation where they would put you in a garbage can, blindfold you, take you up to the rooftop, and spin your garbage can on the edge of the roof. If you fell onto the roof, you were in the gang. If you fell on the other side, you were dead. And one of his gang members, high gang members, is still alive to this day. For anybody who wants to challenge how bad my father was and what it is that they were into. You know what I mean? And so those were the things he did. So when I RIP'd him, he died early, 36 years old, of cancer. Cancer runs heavy on my dad's side. Now, I don't want to say that as if to say I could get cancer. I don't follow that doctrine. If you eat right and you cleanse your head, your mentally, you know, you're going to be fine. But at 36 years old or 37, he never made his 37th birthday. My dad was gone. And so for me, I got on dialysis at 35 years old. Right? And so I was worrying if I'm going to even make 37 years old. You know what I mean? And so, I'm sorry, I got on at 37. So I got on right after he died in terms of age. And so life becomes different when you make these milestones. My mother passed at 47. When I was emerging on my 48th birthday, I was depressed. Am I going to make it? You know, this and that. And here I am at 56, getting ready to turn 57. And I'm delighted. I'm in such a great space. And so life is great.
Man. Bro.
Side note, when you spoke about the big arms.
Yes.
Right? There's another a video I put out on needles. You know what I mean?
I think I forgot which part. I think I could probably find that too. But I'll look for. Is it in which chapter is that?
No, that's in the book, but it was a video.
Yeah, no, I know it's a video. That's why I'm trying to find which chapter that particular QR code, because I could scan it and put it up.
Oh no, it's not in the QR codes.
Oh, it's not. Okay, it's not in.
I'd have to send that to you.
Oh, you can you email it to me?
I'm gonna have wifey email it to you.
I am kingsimon@gmail. If she wasn't saying it.
Ma, you heard that?
I am kingsimon@gmail.
I am kingsimon@gmail. Send him the needles video, and
I'll snatch that up.
So what I was talking about, I hated needles so much that I drew them to me. Right?
Yeah.
The greatest hatred in my life was needles, because I was watching these needles destroy this brilliant woman with a high IQ and this and that. But the law of attraction is not biased. So it doesn't just give you the things you want. It gives you the things that you're drawing to you, even if you think you're repelling them. That subconscious mind is so powerful to the point where I need 3 needles or 2 needles 3 times a week for the last 20 years, right? And as big as her arms is, or hands got, my left arm is that big. Okay? As a byproduct of I wouldn't even show it. It'll horrify people.
Right.
As a byproduct of this war of trauma that we draw into our lives. So I just wanted to add that as we're being, just transparent and how powerful, this information is.
Man, School of Hard Knocks.
School of Hard Knocks. What chapter is that? 4. Oh, chapter 4.
That's chapter 4.
Wait a minute. Let me. What page is that? What page is that?
That's actually 17.
Right.
School of Hard Knocks. That's why I was just gonna throw stuff at you.
Oh, okay, got you.
Where you gonna go at? Where you gonna go with it?
That was where I was learning, right?
Right.
My mother this was Bristol Street, right off of Boston Road, 1972. As a 4-year-old, I should be home learning my ABCs.
Right.
But because my mother had a drug habit and the way the community was structured, it was a little different. She would sit me in front of the pool hall, right? And I'd be out there all day listening to who's cheating on whose wife, what you know, daddy-o sling talk. I knew everything in the community by sitting on that curb, listening to these old dudes. I was ear hustling. Sometimes they give me a nickel to rack the balls on the pool table, keep money, and nobody messed with me because they knew my father wasn't no joke. So they don't mess with him. Leave him, leave him be. But that's where I learned so much. I knew what kind of drugs people was on by their demeanor. In the book, I expressed that the smell of heroin was in my house more than the smell of food. And so I can walk in someone's house and I can tell they just got finished using heroin or cocaine. I can just tell. And so the School of Hard Knocks for me, and I had a vivid memory. And so my mother never taught me my ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, none of that, but I was always an advanced student in all of my classes. All life, I just knew it. You know what I mean? And so that's where I learned the street life from. Me and my mother would go boosting, which was stealing at Alexander's and other
on
places.
Fordham Road, Alexander on Fordham Road?
All over the place. Definitely Fordham Road, right? And when if they caught her, I would be yelling so hysterically at the top of my lungs that they were going to hurt my mother, that they would just let her go. You know what I mean? But little do they know that was all a part of the plan. That was our hustle. You know what I mean? And I ate spice ham sandwiches and Suzy Q's every night. That's all. My mother didn't cook. And so my diet, as we get into that aspect, and some days, I'm not going to hold you, I had a pack of cookies for dinner. That's all we could muster up. And so I speak of a chapter in the book where I talk about Heron being my stepdad. And me and Heron were always vying for my mother's attention. And sometimes he won and sometimes I won. And so this is a real deep, captivating story for those who want to delve into. Now, it wasn't all bad, as the story progresses.
Right.
But this was the foundation of the story.
But and that's why the healing part was very important to me. And again, that's why this is a very pivotal part of today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community series, because you presented a monumental healing book that not only goes through is transparent with what you went through with your family and your mom and everybody else, and also your sisters being Heron children. When did you finally? Because I know they was adopted, right? They went through adoption.
Yes, my first sister, Wanda, her father took her at birth.
Okay,
meaning my mother had a short relationship with him, and the minute she was born, he took her and took her to his baby mother who was pregnant. So think of the movie Fences.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He's bringing this baby to his woman who loved this baby. Her name was Rose. She was beautiful. She came from a long line of beautiful sisters. They all were tall, gorgeous. She had baby in her stomach, but she took my sister and she raised her as her own for 48 years. Because we were close with that family, sometimes we knew where they were, sometimes I didn't, because she stayed moving around because she was not going to give my sister back to my mother, even after my mother cleaned up, because there were times along the road when my mother cleaned up and was coming to get her daughter. We couldn't find them at all. As fate would have it, Rose made the transition one year, and I emerged out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere, the next year, and we began our relationship there, which was about 8 years ago, and we've been going ever since, and it has been amazing. My youngest sister, April, she was born 1974, and my mother physically and psychologically abused this child. She was, and I don't make excuses, I tell the story. I'm 6 years old at that time. I understand the street hustle. I understand how me and my mother get down. April became a hindrance because my mother needed to feed her, change her, give her a bottle. She was slowing us down. We couldn't hustle. And then my mother felt she wanted this baby to be a guy named Pee-wee's baby, but she knew it was my father's baby. So she resented this baby, April, from the beginning, and it manifested in levels of abuse that I didn't even describe all of it in the book, but I put some of it in there so that you know. So she was put into child services. However, when I went to visit her one time, I think at her 3rd or 4th birthday, there was a look in her eyes when we were leaving, because she didn't remember any of the abuse. She was too young. And she had a sad look on her face that said she wanted to come with us, but they would not let, because my mother was volatile, off drugs, on methadone, which was the liquid heroin, off this, that. But she gave me a look, and I said, I vowed that as long as it took me in life, I was going to find her. See, Wanda, my older sister, I had no relationship. I raised April, at least when she was around. I fed her, I bathed her, I did all those things. So my connection with her was a little bit different. And then eventually, with the help of Malcolm's mom, who I give all the credit to in the book, she helped me find my sister in 1994. And we've been like this, son. You know what I mean? Yes.
That I see that April's Home. That's that chapter where you got April's Home. I see. And there's another one. There's another thing. The Million Man March. What was the change that happened? And what somebody else asked a question. Let's go to the question first. Adara asked, did you ever see any negative spirits in those spots or around the people when you was entering those spots, those drug spots or whatever?
No, I didn't. But in my grandmother's home, which is in the book, my grandmother was a powerful roots worker. All right. I want to stress that she wasn't playing games. Right. To the point where people in the neighborhood, they would constantly be out of her home. When I was a child, 3-4 years old, I used to see an entity come out of the floor in her home. And at first I was frightened, but then when I realized it wasn't there for me, I was no longer frightened. My grandmother would put things out on in the kitchen seal on her altar, and this beast or beast-like being, which walked on 2 legs, but it was like a wolf, would come and feed, and then it would go back into the floor. And I thought I was losing my mind until later on, I got around my grandmother and watched entities walk by. I watched her talking to things that weren't there. I watched doors open and close. I watched so many amazing things. I suppressed them later on because the other kids would ridicule me when I would try to share some of the things I saw. But she used me as part of her rituals at times. You know what I'm saying?
As you saying what you're saying, my ears start ringing, man. As you saying this about your grandmother, my ears is like, it's loud right now. This frequency is loud just in this left ear. I'm like, what the? So I know it's honest truth.
Yes.
I know it's true. I know, and she's still around you in some form or fashion.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And some of the things I saw her do, and people would come from all kind of places to see her. And she was a reverend. She had a church built on the front of her house, and that wasn't uncommon in the South. She from the South. That wasn't uncommon. She was a reverend by day. She was working those roots at night. You know what I mean? And that's how. And so she was from South Carolina, right?
Oh, so Geechee, huh?
Yes, when I go to Azariah for the very first time, I tell that story in the book too. He hands me a cassette tape of a brother named Bobby Hemmett. And when he said he was from the South, I felt that was my grandmother telling me, don't abandon your spirituality, young man.
Don't do it.
Embrace it. And from that point on, the rest has been history, you know?
Now one of the chapter 22 is a chapter 1996, The Crossroad. But before that, you had Back to Zero, but the Million Man March. What was that part that changed you at the Million Man, or why did you feel that you had to go to that Million Man March at that particular time, and what did change you about it?
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan were calling men from all over the world to come and converge because we needed to have a conversation. I was in a crossroads in my relationship with Malcolm's moms. You know, let me say this. You have to be taught how to learn to love a woman. And see, if you ain't got no men around as reference points, so all the mistakes I made up until that point as a man were being made, but this calling by the minister was calling me to check myself, to reset myself, to understand my responsibilities as a man. And so I purchased my bus ticket, me and my homie, and we went down to 125th Street. And people, the women in the street were rooting us on. You go, brother, you go. And I felt a sense of pride. I felt I was doing something amazing that was going to benefit my family. And then the police wouldn't let the buses in. They stopped all the buses coming over the George Washington Bridge to pick us up, to take us to D.C. And I said, I'm going to D.C. I went and purchased an Amtrak, a ticket on the train. It cost me an arm and a leg. I did not care. On the train, the conversations, and it's almost bringing tears to my eyes. The conversations us men were having about getting our shit together as men, all the way there. And it was amazing. Then when I get there and emerge at the train station, I see nothing but a sea of black men from one end to the next. And it was the greatest time of my life as a man in 1995. You know, I'm 27 years old, you know what I'm saying? And I needed to hear that. And so when I made it back home, unfortunately, the damages in my relationship could not be repaired at that time, mainly because of my shortcomings. I'll be honest. I'm gonna be clear with it. And so 1996 represented the crossroad or change of me trying to reestablish self, if that makes sense.
Right, because that was the crossroad. That's the crossroad cycle that you was in.
Yes. And in that crossroad, I had to move in by myself again. You know, I had been a family man my whole life. I had lost one of my cousins, Kanief, to gang or street violence, should I say. I ran into Azariah on the street in Fordham Road. And so now my ancestors were bringing me into a space to reconnect spiritually because I was going to need that for the next journey in my life. This book is broken into two 28-year cycles. 28 and 28 is 56. That's where I am now. And that's why the book had to come out now. So 1996 was that crossroad. And I also met Mama Dot. We didn't start dating yet, but we were on each other's radar in 1996. So that was a transitional period for me that was going to propel me forward to become Black Dot. I wasn't Black Dot at that time.
Right. Well, you know, somebody's on the backstage. You're allowed one question coming on here. Big up. How you doing, sir? How can I help you?
Greetings. All right, I had to turn the feed off. Gratitude. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Greetings. I'm calling from New Orleans. What's up, King Simon? Blessings,
What's up,
Black
sir?
Dot.
How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Peace. Gratitude. I was checking in. I wanted to ask about I wanted to call in and ask about the music first, because y'all talking about, I was on since the beginning of the show. Y'all talking about consciousness with the elders. And I just want to say that the work that I do in community with Sangha, it's called Sangha, but it's basically what y'all are demonstrating right now is saying that even if healing, if it's uncomfortable, we have someone to look to say, hey, this is feasible. And we could come from different places, but it's possible to get past it and to alchemize it and then share that with the next person. And it's odd because earlier I sent you a text, King Simon. It was about milk. Remember, I was like, I don't know if you caught that. I was like, and then I'm looking at the video and I'm like, oh, and I saw the footage you shared, Black Dot, about, you know, the whole thing. And it just got me thinking about how the evolution is happening, like right in front of everyone's face. Like y'all are really holding it down. It's like that gives a lot of hope. It gives a lot of hope to the individuals that are like, you know, I mean, because otherwise you'll hear, well, what's the cause? Like, what's the point? You know, it's life messed up, this messed up. But I work with a lot of priests and pastors and ministers and nuns, and they come from different backgrounds and they have different beliefs. But one thing I found in common is that they heal when they come together and they share their differences.
Yes.
And if there's any kind of any class or any kind of structure that y'all gonna like be putting together or consider putting together, I would definitely like I said, I'm calling from New Orleans. I would definitely have like as many people as I could get to participate, especially the Black men, because one of one individual I work with real closely is emphasis on shadow work. And I'm watching y'all do this in real time right now. And it's tripping me out because it was few far in between when I started watching Brother Rich platform. Like I said, I was bedridden for a little while, whatnot. And it just took me out of a space of work, and I got an opportunity to see, you know, how the elders move in the conscious community. So I just want to give gratitude and thanks because what y'all doing is real-time shadow work, real-time healing. You really set the tone and the example for everything. And I'm going to look into getting that book, King Simon. Yours already on the way, so just letting you know. But if there's, just for future references, I've been getting a lot of signs to reach out and to wait to contact and speak to y'all about these things. As far as hip hop goes, I'm gonna get out the way because I know y'all got other things to talk about too. I've been seeing the change firsthand with the music industry not being able to sign certain people without people catching on that there's a catch to that. And I was thinking like, well, what's the point of getting a record deal this day and age other than just some quick money and putting your life on the line? And I'm seeing the consciousness of that change. I was actually at a point where I got real close to like being able to get affiliated with certain individuals because I was in New York and Jersey and working with the A&Rs and the producers and things like that. And it was really just about getting the bag and not contributing to the history and the growth of music. And at any point that we have any opportunity to collaborate or do any projects or whatnot, man, please just put it out there and let us know, because there's a whole lot of individuals in the conscious community that's waiting to provide their creativity to a platform.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Very much.
So I just wanted to call and give y'all gratitude and giving that example, being transparent and showing that the healing is possible. I mean, I don't feel like I look like, you know, a good bit of the things I went through myself. And I just also wanted to share this too. Black Dot. If you look into what it was I wanted to share with you, bee pollen and soursop leaves. I do health and medicinal practices and with food and whatnot, and that'll help level out and straighten a lot of things. Bee pollen, soursop leaves, and pumpkin seed milk. You're not gonna find a pumpkin seed milk in the store because that's too beneficial to the Black body. So that's why you want to get it. Even if you got to get the seeds, soak them, blend them, make your own pumpkin seeds, you'll get tremendous results in a very short period of time. So I just wanted to call it, make a real contribution, that something you could just keep applying and using to give back in real time. So gratitude.
Thank you very much. All right. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much, brother. All right. Take care. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. A little long-winded on it, you know what I mean? But I can feel it was coming from a great place in his heart. And I appreciate all that he offered. Now, let me say this real quick about
We're
healing.
from the school of the long-winded out here.
Yeah.
In our community.
Talking
It's all right.
kung
It's all
fu.
good.
It's all
It's
good.
all right. It's all good.
Let me say this about healing. This, because I know I got a lot of, herbalists in the crowd. This is deeper than herbs. And let me explain what I mean by that.
Yeah, please.
The reason I had to write the book is because I needed to address the deep down trauma as a part of that healing process.
Right.
So that when I do reconnect with herbs or this and that, a lot of times they don't work for me because I'm not addressing the root metaphysical cause of the problem. In one chapter of the book, I speak about shedding Black Dot and becoming Duane, because Black Dot gave me an insulation. It gave me an armor, a shield of armor to put on, so I didn't have to deal with what Duane was dealing with. And so I had to name this book Duane Bowser to put me back in a place that I can begin the healing process and make it open and free and give it and don't hold to it, so that a deeper level of healing can now begin. So what I do thank the brother for all that he offered.
Big up to Queen Neat, and another surprise pop in. Uncle Honky boy, Uncle Honk in the building. What's up, Unc?
What's good?
What's up, brother? What's up? I know, right? It is deep. It's big. Big up to Queen Neat in the building. I can't hear you, man. You talking? You talking? You ain't talking yet, huh?
I
know. It's been deep, right? I know.
Thanks for sharing, Black Dot, and thank you for the book. Because my family from Virginia, most died from alcohol. My dad, my brother, my aunt, my sister. So thank you for going to that shadow side.
Yes. And I thank you, along with the other elders, for creating that space for me to do so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother King, for telling me to come on tonight, because there's another show going. Unfortunately, Kafunya is holding it down.
It's all right.
Your words, it's hitting me straight through the heart.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Unc, man. You know how we go down, man. I gotta get you on for the con. You've been there since the first world and all of that, so we definitely need to talk on that, man. And thank you for all you doing, man, with on your platform. Who you have coming up next on your platform, brother? So we could
Phil Valentine, Black Dot next week.
Yeah, Black Dot next week.
Ifa Kunle, Babalao, Ifa Kunle next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pop in and out, because I might have something next Tuesday. So I think I'm supposed to have something on Tuesday at 8 o'clock too. So we'll see if I can pop in and out that day.
So we've been hit like with waves, like the alcoholism from my dad's family. It took out. That was like in the, I guess you say in the South. That was like in the 50s.
Moonshine.
Corn. That corn liquor.
That's all they knew. They just knew to drink and then shuffle to the light. Man, we got cousins we don't even know about.
Exactly.
You know that's right.
Man. But man, thank you very much for coming on, man. We definitely gonna chop it up, man. And
I'll see you next week, Unc.
I'll see you.
All right, love you, man. Be safe, man. All right, love you. All right, man. It's good to see those elders. He's feeling it. That's because he couldn't hardly. Unc usually got things to say.
Yes.
And what's so deep about what you just said about shedding the dot and letting Mr. Bowser come through is that my son and I were sitting on the couch, my first son, while I was in New York last time I was out there. And he was telling me that because I have a real estranged relationship with my daughters. And he said, when I sat with my sisters, they said they don't know you. They don't know you. And I had to say, my true self is when I'm quiet, because I don't know myself. Because I grew up in an entertaining family. Father owned a nightclub. Cousin was the model, disco diva Susie Q. His second cousin was Grace Jones. I grew up in these these families that was entertaining. Then my other cousin became a DJ, spinning with four, in the 70s, spinning with four turntables, following the hip hop trend. And then I picked up on the promotion and doing what I had to do from 12 years of age. So I created all the Simon Templars and the DJ Rappomatical T and all this stuff I was calling myself. And so I created a whole bunch of personas. Even when you start going into religion and spiritual names, you start taking on Muhammad. And, I got my Muhammad in the nation, got my Muhammad in the Ansar community, got my Muhammad in, you taking on all these other personas and don't know who you are.
Yes, you hit it right on the nose, man. And hip hop had a part in that, because it was the first time you could become the magnificent DJ so-and-so. We knew we weren't those things. We began to project. We began to create this alternate university to shed the suffering we were going through. And so we created these alternate personalities and this and that. And at some point I said, my mama and my aunt named me Duane. That's where the trauma took place.
Yeah.
That's why Black Dot can't heal half this shit. I can heal something in you, but I can't heal. And since we're talking about the hero's journey, every hero has got either a kryptonite or something that they guard safely because it could so-called bring them down or whatever, that they have to deal with at some point. So I said, I got to go back to Duane. I got to go back to the little boy who experienced these things and get into that. I ain't been Duane in goddamn, I don't know how long. I've been the MC Cool D, Chiba La Rock since 1980. Exactly. My first name was Chiba La Rock. I wasn't even smoking back then.
Chiba La Rock.
But that was my first name because
Sonny Chiba.
Yeah, I wanted to be somebody else so bad. And so this is the warning I'm putting out to people.
Right.
And I'm just saying, I'm not a victim. So I never came across asking for no sympathy. None of that. We don't play that in my household. If you can get it done, get it done. Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, my mother and father wasn't in my life. My father never came around.
Wow, wow.
The teacher always picked on me, even though she knew I couldn't read.
Wow.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You have an opportunity to do something and be something. Be that. That's all. So if you're bringing me on for an interview,
right,
and it's related to this book,
yes,
forgive me in advance. There might be tears flowing.
Yes,
it's just because it's one of those things. But I'm not here asking for sympathy. Every 30 seconds, hit my cash app.
No, exactly.
Tell me to go fund me. It's none of that. It's just that I'm freeing myself. And if you open up that space, as King Simon has done tonight, just be prepared for whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I got the video from Mama Dot. Big up to Queen Neat in the building. What's up, Queen Neat? Always good to see you. Everybody that's coming in, Shari and everybody. And thank you, Color Curiosity, for putting up the stuff. And thank you for that question, Adara. And thank you for the brother that came on, and also Hunk Rising Sun. But the video I want to play real quick about the needles, I'm going to drop it right now, right here. Family, we're still here with our beloved brother, Black Dot, on this hero's journey, man. When I say this book, I find it hard to, and like I said, I've been finding it hard to watch movies and read certain things, and I have to keep myself focused, man, because I know there's another transition happening in all of us. There's another transformation happening in all of us. Even during that time when you was going through I did the numbers to that 1996 crossroad. You was in your crossroad cycle in numerology. Actually, you was in a 6 personal year cycle. Wow. And the crossroad cycle lasts in the 4 personal year, 5, 6, and 7 personal year. So you was absolutely, because when I add up, so people know 8 plus 27 plus 1996 adds up to 2031, and 2 plus 0 plus 3 plus 1 adds up to 6. That's one of the crossroad numbers. And it deals with family, the loss or gain of family, loss of it. All of that was happening. So
I was in alignment. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was in alignment. That's back in 1996. I'm trying to tell people you pay attention to cycles, patterns, cycles, and sequences of life going backward and forward. So let me play this commercial, family. We're here with the great Black Dot in the building. We ain't finished yet. We ain't just starting either, but we ain't finished yet. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this. Black Dot, your wife did all of the commercials, those type of commercials. Your wife did it?
Yes, my wife did all of that. Yes.
Mama Dot, love and respect.
Applaud Mama Dot. Yes.
Yes, man. Mama Dot, you are a fantastic producer. And I'm proud that he even have you in his life to keep that energy going, man, because Dot's energy is very much needed. And it's not surprising that you would be doing what you're doing to help heal us to understand that we gotta let it go. You know, in the next part of the back of the book, and again, family, I only read one chapter. That's why you don't see me going into the book that much. But the back of the book and all in between, even the chapters tell you something. And then one thing at this part, this ending part, you say, this story is not just about struggle. It's about silence, strength, and what happens when you carry your wounds so long they start to look like personality traits.
Yes.
It's about learning to love when you were raised in survival. It's about what's happening when a little boy grows up in chaos and still finds a way to dream, still finds a reason to fight, still finds the courage to write this book. If you've never smiled when you wanted to scream or held in tears because you thought no one would care, this is for you. Welcome to my story. Welcome to Gotta Laugh to Keep from Crying. Bro.
Yes.
Again, yes. It's bringing tears to my eyes, man. I told you I had to wear shades. Wear my shades. Oh, bro. Man, in these last moments, brother, Doctor, I'm about to call you Dr. Bowser. Might as well. Man, last but not least, brother, I'm not going to hold you too long. We've been up here for 2 hours. Thank you so much for what you just contributed. Other than all the stuff that you've given us in the past, the music, I still talk about turning chickens into chicken head. That song caught me out. Oh God,
chicken soup. Yeah, that's
chicken soup into chicken soup. Chicken heads into chicken soup. I really use that, man. I said, man, that is phenomenal writing, brother. What is it that you want to leave with the world, and when it's all said and done, brother, what do you want to leave for the family? What you want the world to remember about Duane Bowser, aka the Black Dot, aka Chiba, all of that, aka.
Yes. Well, my thing is this: if I've ever come into your midst, I hope it was pleasant. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't, trust me, I was off base, not you. I try to embrace and meet people at a vibrational point because I want to show love. I feel love, you know what I'm saying, in my heart. I want to tell my story, you know what I mean? And I felt from a conscious community standpoint, as we return back to authenticity, we have to remove the veil of all of this bull crap, where I'm so-and-so, I'm rich. And you find out most of these people ain't rich or this and that because they fronting. We've been through that cycle of illusion. I want you to know I'm human, just like you. I love just like you. I hurt just like you. I have shortcomings just like you, but I'm also brilliant. I'm also enlightened, and I'm also on this hero's journey to be the best that I can be. And if you accept all of me, and I can accept all of you, we can get this thing done. It ain't always going to be pretty, and ain't none of us here perfect. So let's remove all the veils and all the craziness. If you got a problem with diabetes, just say you got a problem with diabetes, man. Doesn't mean what you're teaching ain't that real. If you got a problem loving a woman, that's what the community's for. Maybe we can help you. Whatever the case may be, I think we are now in a space, and I'm hoping that this book is a part of that process to go, yeah, don't put me on no pedestal, but I can teach you some things that can change your life. And that's what I would want to be known as. And I would want my ancestors to honor and say, if I'm a past, I had an honorable death. I know there's no death, but honorable, meaning I came and I put work in. I did work and I left this place better than I found it.
Yes.
That's all. That's all we want is to so-called die an honorable death in this journey that we have here. And with that being said, that's what it would be if I'm gonna be remembered. And that I tried my best to make you laugh. I try to make you laugh, and I see the same in King Simon because I want to absorb some of your pain and you can release it on me because I have the shoulders broad enough to bear it. So when I'm on my platform with my son and I'm doing everything in my power just to make him laugh.
Yeah, that's
everybody else laugh. That's great.
That's
just to make him laugh,
that's
to
right.
absorb some things he's going through, or my wife. Because I wrote that in the book. I'm bold enough to take it on for you, even temporarily. Most of the comedians, the greats in the world, if you get behind the curtain, you realize they were living some dark lives or had some other issues, but they were sent here to bring you joy, even as a class clown or temporarily. And that's what I would like to share, you know?
Man, you are highly appreciated. You know, comedy, you know, the other side of comedy is tragedy. That's why they have the symbolism.
Yes,
and
yes.
You know, I've worked with a lot of them back in the day. I was just on somebody's show, JP Justice from the Bronx. I was just on his Jameek's show today, and you know, just talking to him about certain things, man. But a lot of us are going through the men, and last but not least, I think we need a healing circle.
Yes,
worldwide healing circle, probably based off of this reading right here. I think this is the one. Gotta laugh to keep from crying. I didn't start living until I thought I was dying, because most of us died and did not live.
Yes.
We cried right into us. Remember Michael Bazin wrote the book, Men Cry in the Dark, back in the day.
Yes.
I was on radio interviewing him before he even got on radio when I was on WWRL.
Wow.
I was on radio back in that late 1998, 1999, 2000, and he wasn't even on radio yet. So, men cry in the dark, men cry in their pillow, men cry in the shower and pretend that they got soap in their eyes. We cry.
Yes, we
do. We should let it off. And thank you, Doc, for this contribution, this part of the puzzle.
Thank you. I
to our life.
it.
And I'm going to get into it. Even if I just open up and read a chapter, that's how I need to, like, because I know each chapter is going to take me where I got to go. Because that's what I've been doing. Like Bobby used to teach us, like you might buy a book just to be able to open up. And again, I just read one chapter and I cried like a baby.
Yes, it might be only for one chapter you bought that book for, and the rest of it still resonates, but not for who you are at that time and what you need it for. I agree.
Man, even the video, man, that, you know, that I called you, Susan. I didn't even open the book. I called you. I started crying. But I know I'm releasing, and thank you for allowing me to release even on the phone with you when I first got the package, man. Thank you.
Yes, I felt every bit of it.
And
peace. I love you, brother.
I love you.
I really do, and I'll see you. Soon.
Yeah, I'm coming into New York this week, man. So we know what it is. All right. And Dr. Melanie is gonna be in town on the 21st. We should pull up on her, man.
We will.
She's gonna be right across the street from Medgar Evers on the 21st.
We will.
So I'll call you and let you know, and we can go show some love to her, because that's her first time releasing and being able to speak without crying after Dr. Africa passed. So we need to go show her some love.
Put our arms around her. Absolutely.
Yeah, need to put out some arms around her. All right. I love you, man. And I tell the family, get them a group, Eli, the whole crew, everybody. Your daughter, congratulations to your daughter. She's doing great work. Big up to everybody in the building saying and sending you love, man. All in the chat right now, man. Thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you. All right.
I love you all.
Love you too, brother. Thanks, right. Man, let's give that brother a well-deserved round of applause. His beautiful wife, also the family. Malcolm, all the children, Odyssey, everybody. Eli doing his thing. Yes, I teared up. I was in tears, family. Yes, I have been in tears. Yes. I cried. You know, I cried. Yes. It's like Lenny Williams' song. You know I love you. And I start crying when you hear them type of songs. I'm not going to try to sing Lenny Williams right now. But family, thank everybody for coming on, man. Remember, go to shopurbanx.com, shopurbanx.com. Show Black Dot some love. Show the family some love. They got some great, this is one of the shirts that he made for the Gathering of the Masters. Yo, this happened like a year and a half. The shirt is still beautiful. It's very good quality cotton shirts. Big up to Black Dot. Again, get his books. Those who didn't see the package that he gave it to us in, look at this. The Heroes package. And when you open it up, those who ever seen it, look at this. When you open it up, a whole video production comes on. Look at it.
Peace, my brother King Simon, master of the numbers, master of promoting events and keeping this thing that we have created alive from the ground on up. I want to tell you, I recognize your contributions. I recognize your love for the people. I recognize your dedication to be true and honest and be a man of integrity. And with that being said, what you do with these numbers to help fill in these blanks, because our story is so multi-layered and multi-faceted, and you fill in that blank with those numbers, and they're very important. So with that being said, I want to give you your flowers now. And as one brother to another tell you, I respect you, to tell you I love you, to tell you I honor you, and to keep going and doing what you do. And close, my brothers, a copy of my book, Gotta Laugh to Keep from Crying. I didn't start living until I thought I was dying, my brother. And so I want you to read this book.
Powerful.
I want you to be motivated and inspired.
Powerful.
And I hope it gets for you to get to know your brother a little bit better. With that being said, King, peace.
Man, this was the most professionally packaged package that I've ever received in my life. Especially when it comes to book form. I don't know if y'all heard what he said, but that was what was in the package, and the book was right there in the center. Man, it was the most beautiful package that I ever received. And I cried and had to call him and cry again. Man, thank you very much, Black Dot, once again. Thank you and your family, man, for even because sometimes, brothers and sisters, I don't feel at certain times I don't feel appreciated. I can really say that. And I remember one of my sons came to me and said, Pops, you don't get the props that you deserve, man. And he's watching and he's checking out. And when your own son and your own baby come to you and say, you don't get the props that you deserve, I get it in my own way. And I know what it is. But to get it from your peers, like a Black Dot or Dr. Valentine calling in earlier to show us love, or saying what he said at the St. Francis College that time, it means a lot to me. Ella, something else. Nigga, I appreciate you. Whatever. Ella's such a crazy. Hey, Shana woman. Sak passe. Na boule. Nigga, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And nobody know, sometimes people don't know what you're going through by yourself. And sometimes I don't say, I keep the smile on my face. And, going to mental health websites, they'll tell you that sometimes, and like Black Dot said in the back of this, we be hiding through our laughter. We be hiding on that stage. We be hiding when we want to scream. We tell jokes just like comedians. Some of their lives is worse. Comedy and tragedy is real. So, everyone is going through it. Everybody is going through it. All of us go through it. My son, Prince of Man, is in the building. Big up to Prince of Imagine in the building. And, and like when he asked me the question and told me that my daughters didn't know me, I had to say, I don't know myself. I really don't know myself, because I was raised a bunch of entertainers that I tried to mimic in my formative years and became all those characters. And I know that my true self is when I'm silent and quiet and just observing. That's my true self. Because like I said on one of my feeds, I said, when my family used to come over and all the time, I'll play with them for a minute and I'll go disappear into my room by myself. I'm gone. I go into a corner by myself. I'll go in the bathroom and go play in my little boats with water and all that. I go, run the water and plug it up to go play. Leave them alone. Let them go play. I'm not doing that with them. I'm good. That was just me when I was a child. So, I'm sorry that my children don't know me, because me is silent and like to be to myself and quiet. I always been like that from a child. And that's why my mother said on radio one time, she called in on my radio show. My mother called in my radio show while I was hosting a show on WWRL 1600 AM with Prince Kalunda. And Prince asked the question. He said, Miss Brown, what kind of child? Because she called for my birthday. She surprised me for my birthday. She said, what kind of child was Simon growing up? And all my mother could say is that he was a quiet child and a very loving child. That's what my mother said. A quiet child and a very loving child. And that's why I showed this picture right here. This is my quiet time. This is me right here in this picture. Look at that baby picture right there in the black and white. Quiet. Then I started developing this persona to smile. Then I got the seriousness and smile, and then serious. So I was always in between my seriousness, my quiet time, and my smile. This picture right here tells 50 years. That's why I got 5 pictures up there. 50 years of me. And my children might not understand. Some of my family, my sister, my brothers, none of them might understand. But this reflects who I am in this picture. Very quiet, but loving. Look at my eyes as a child. Look at those eyes. And look how it changes over the years. Look at it to the point that I'm covering it up. And that picture was taken 2 years ago with the round glasses. To the point that I'm covering it up again, putting on that mask. Thank you, Black Dot, for showing us the way. He's showing us brothers the way. He's showing us brothers the way. He's showing us brothers the way. I gotta laugh to keep from crying. I didn't start living until I thought I was dying. Hero's Journey. On that note, family, thank y'all very much for tuning in. Thank everybody for locking in. Thank y'all very much for showing love. Thank everybody for coming in. My son, I see Prince Imagine. Make sure y'all support my son, Prince Imagine. He's right here in the building right now. He's right here in the building right now. And this is his website. This is his QR code. This is his stuff. You want to support him in the music business and all that he's doing. That's Prince Imagine right there. That's my firstborn. Firstborn right there. Love what he's doing. Glad he's doing it. We all been through our ups and downs, but it is what it is. And we're here now to do what we got to do to continue on this journey. All right. So family, thank y'all very much for tuning in to today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community Tuesday. Look out for the next person that's coming on. I'm supposed to have tomorrow the legendary Top Cat. I'm going to see if he's still available. I'm supposed to be on Brother Haru's show coming up and heading to New York. Going to hang out with Set Squad. Then don't forget, we might do a pop-up event on the 23rd or the 24th at Nicholas. We might a meditation, Delbert Blair style meditation at Nicholas, Brooklyn. Remember, on the 22nd, we will be speaking at LIU, and then coming back to Georgia, we're going to be climbing up Stone Mountain together. We're going to do what we got to do on that Stone Mountain and have a great time. All right. So family, be powerful, be focused. If you do want to book a session, text me your full name, date of birth, and email. Book a session with me. Go to my King Simon Productions at patreon.com. Make sure you support the martial art journeys of some of the teachers that I respect in the martial arts. Don't forget myself, Black Dot, Tafiro Azar, Adika Butler. Paris Williams will be open up for me in this segment, and also Baba Ifakunle. Get my books on Amazon. 3 of the books was produced by Dr. Melanie and Dr. Laila Africa. So when you support me, you support them on Amazon. Lloyd Strayhorn, always support the Baba. Y'all know I always support him. Make sure you hit him up and join his app world at *8. Big up to Abundance Child, of course. WJVSradio.com. Make sure you support, show her and her husband some love. Don't forget the ebooks. I have volume 1, 2, and 3 ebooks out right now called Numerovational Spiritual Lessons. And every time you book a session with me, you get a free ebook. And I got a discount this month right now for the Black Music Month, the Melanated Music Month in the month of June. $80 off for my 30-minute sessions and $50 off for my 60-minute sessions. All right. Family, remember what Dr. B says. I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I'm thankful for my life. Remember what Dr. Blair used to say. Please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth in your love now. Big up to Dr. Blair, because remember, big up, Dr. Blair used to say, there is no truth until you decide what truth is. I love you because I love me. Take care. Be great. Thank you, Blacked Out, once again for coming on and showing love. Y'all take care, family. See y'all next time. It's about guiding people. The only way you can make the world better is if you make the people better. So it's about showing them the light of hope in themselves and their family. Everything in this universe is all about synchronicity.
Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numerovator from the king. Learn the foundation from the king. Nana Pushe. 1 + 1 is 2. Be precise. 3 + 2 is 5. Guard your mind. Me plus you is mathematician. Learn from the one Numerovator. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Me innovation from a king. Me the foundation from the king. Nana Pushe. Numbers are simple. No people are complicated. Numerovator from a king. Me the foundation from the king.
No, it's not about reading. It's about guiding. I don't do readings. I do consultations because you should know yourself as good as the back of your hand. You should know yourself. I want everyone out there to be clear that this is to serve you like a GPS serves you. Remember, each of us has guaranteed ourselves success. Be that magi, family. Be that magician. Be that numerovational motivated force. Today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? From the pristine position that we held in today's consciousness, here's a new show just for you every Tuesday called Today's Consciousness. Be there and enjoy all the great special guest stars that will be passing through on a new show called Today's Consciousness. Are you ready to address all the things that are going on? And how can we heal today's consciousness? Right here on KSP TV. Today's Consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? Some people think that this esoteric knowledge is for the rich and powerful, when in actuality, the so-called 85% has a spark in them that if it is sparked through numerology, astrology, motivation, whatever, it will raise them up from an 85%, maybe to a 10%, and eventually they become the 5%. Poor or prosperous righteous teachers. We gotta understand that this knowledge is not just for one class of people. We gotta get out of the classes.